So, if you didn't know, I like MMOs. And Throne of Liberty, I've been keeping a close eye on it. So, let's go ahead and check it out. See what the new update is and see what's going on. I think this game's going to be pretty good, but let's see. Let's see what's going on.
Admittedly, the list of competition is short, with only a few other MMOs tentatively planned for the year. Those being Blue Protocol, Odin Valhalla Rising, and Ashfall, which, if I'm speaking frankly, Blue Protocol is the only decent looking one of that bunch, but even if competition...
Yeah, out of all of those that he named, Blue Protocol looks the best and the most promising. I've seen the alpha test and stuff, but yeah, it looks the most promising.
Is light, it doesn't really matter because I genuinely think there's some really cool things about Throne and Liberty. They've said it's going to be a third-person hybrid action combat MMO, which looks to mean we're probably going to be getting a soft lock system that blends action and tab targeting, kind of like what we see in Guild Wars 2 and Elder Scrolls Online. The game's prime.
Okay, I like that. I've never played Guild Worlds War. I can't even talk right now. But I didn't play that. But I played ESO a lot. My brother got me into that, so I played that a lot. And if it's like that, I really like that combat. So I think I'd be pretty happy.
Primary focus will be on challenging cooperative PvE. We've seen stuff like these non-instanced open world multi-layered dungeons where you can go deep in and just like have people running all over the place and stuff. It sounds really cool. Bunch of big boss battles with what we've seen like being hundreds of players on the screen. There's also going to be various types of PvP, including open world with a PK system, some smaller scale things like arenas, and even these large 100+ player castle sieges with these giant golems.
Okay, the dungeons seem really cool. How like it's like everybody in the open world can just go inside a dungeon and it's like instant. That's pretty cool. I don't mind PvP. I like PvP, but are you always gonna be in PvP? Like if I like walk out to town, like can I turn that off before I walk out, or like am I just gonna walk out and have to be like watching my back, scared I'm gonna get ganked? Like, I don't think you lose anything. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure you don't lose anything. Like they can't gank you and take your stuff, and stuff is gone. But it still sucks. 'Cause I don't want to go outside town and get ganked for no reason. But let's continue. Let's watch. Let's see.
Columns smashing through walls. They've also got some really cool dynamic features, particularly with the weather and day-night cycles that directly affect the environment, with like areas flooding when it rains, becoming inaccessible or giving you access to new spots, or enemies getting stronger during storms, stuff like that. But on top of that, weather is also going to alter player spells and attacks, like we've seen the Wizard's Lightning Bolt, which during a clear day is single target, but then when it rains, it turns into a chain lightning. It also looks like there's going to be a lot of different traversal systems, like your player can mantle and climb a lot of stuff in the environment. We're gonna have access to a grapple hook, letting us zip around, and pretty much everyone in the game plays as a druid, as it features this transforming into animals to increase your land, sea, and air movements.
Okay, that's pretty cool. They can like, that's one thing I liked about it. Like you can like transfer into different animals and stuff, but we all know what animal everyone's gonna go with. A freaking bird. Cause you can just fly over the mountain. Like who wants to just run and you get to a spot like you can't go over because you're like a wolf or a tiger or something. You can just fly over it. Like everybody's gonna be a bird. I mean, you're gonna have those few people who's gonna pick like a wolf or something. Then they're gonna find out. Like, I mean, I might even play as a wolf for a little bit, but as soon as I can transfer into a bird and just go over mountains and stuff and not have to deal with all that terrain, that's what I'm gonna go with. And I bet a lot of people are gonna go with that. So, yeah.
speed. So yeah, like I said, there's just a lot of cool systems and features with the game, and that is only like the bullet point preview of everything we know about Throne and Liberty at the moment, much of which sounds really cool. I'm really looking forward to jumping in and trying the game myself. Now, since our last...
No, the game sounds really cool. It sounds really cool. Like, I played probably like a handful of MMOs, like Lost Ark, ESO, like I said before. I played a little of Final Fantasy 14. What else? Blessed. Oh, I know. Blessed Online. Horrible. I just want to try it out. I know it's horrible. Played that. What else have I played? There's a few more. I've played MMOs before. The only one I really want to try that I haven't played yet is WoW. I've never played WoW. I just never played WoW. Like, I have a computer now, so I can try it out at least. But yeah.
Last Throne and Liberty video, which was back in December, there's been quite a few updates for the game between a few rounds of alpha testing, out of which came some interesting leaks. But then also we had some official announcements, including the Western release window that looks to be just a few months away. And you know what? While you're waiting those few months to play a new MMO, why not check out an MMO that's playable right now? Such as today's sponsor, Dragonair Silent Gods. This is an open world high fantasy role-playing game that will be available on mobile and
like that, but we're here for Throne and Liberty. Okay.
All right, so let's jump into all of the new stuff with Throne and Liberty. First, I want to start off with some of the official news and announcements. So back in January, NC announced that they would soon be conducting one of the final rounds of testing for Throne and Liberty, and that anyone living in South Korea could register to play. The test servers would be live on February 21st and 22nd, lasting for roughly 5 hours each one of those days. And from my understanding, this wasn't one of those like Korean tests that you could just sign up with a VPN.
See, just flying looks so cool. Like, you can't tell me that doesn't look it. Just jumping off of like a rock or a mountain or something, then going to flying, you can't beat that. But I guess we have to wait and see.
Because apparently the testing would all be done locally at participating locations in Korea, so this was a very much so localized event. Then in mid-February, during NCSoft's financial reportings call, they held a Q&A with investors that revealed some pretty big details about their plans for the game. First, confirming that the final round of Korean testing was taking place later that month, after which they said a global marketing campaign would begin ramping up. They then said they would be launching the game at some point in the first half of 2023, which would mean anywhere between right now and sometime in June or early July, and that another company would be in charge of launching the game in the West.
So that's pretty soon. Expecting to come out like in the next few months. Okay. Well, I'm excited to play it, so I can't wait. There's a lot of games, cause I think, of course, Diablo is about to come out, which is kind of like an MMO now. This one, MMO Lite, which I don't mind at all. Like, I've only played like 2 Diablo games. Yeah, Diablo 3 was my first one. My brother got me into that. Loved it. I played hours of that game. Then Diablo Immortal, which that game is very divisive. So I don't mind the gameplay, but like the root of the game, like it's very pay to win. But like the gameplay is not bad. And some of the systems aren't bad, but it's pay to win. But is it the worst game I ever played? No, far from it. But yeah, so this game comes out in a few months. It seems like a couple months, whatever. Excited. So hopefully it doesn't drop around this same time as Diablo 4, because that's going to be a disaster around here. But yeah, let's see.
Following that, on February 20th, they tweeted out that that final round of testing was taking place in just a couple of days. This was like their first really public-facing announcement of this test. And the final bit of this tweeted out announcement said that we should stay tuned for more information sometime soon. And it turns out that information...
Can I just say the art design for this game looks amazing. I don't care what anybody says. It looks awesome. The monsters, the big old titans, they look so amazing. Like, it looks amazing.
Which was revealed just a few days later, was the news that Amazon Games would be the one publishing Throne and Liberty, continuing Amazon's recent, dare I call it an obsession or just involvement with the MMO genre, from their very own developed and published New World, but then also the publishing of Lost Ark, the announced publishing of Blue Protocol, and now they are also publishing Throne and Liberty.
They really have Amazon really has a love for MMOs, which I don't mind at all. It's pretty cool how they're publishing these MMOs. Don't mind it one bit. And with New World, which I love, played a lot of that, and Lost Ark, I mean, I don't think they done a bad job. I mean, it's not Lost Ark's not their game, but how they published it and everything, it's pretty good. And with New World, it's not the best. I mean, I have like 100 hours in that game, over 100 hours. I mean, I like it, but is it the best MMO? No, not at all. Not at all. Not saying that, but it's not bad. And they're gonna publish Blue Protocol. Game looks amazing, and this one too. They just love their MMOs. Like, hey, long as we get them, and somebody is willing to publish them over here in the West, I'm down.
Now, taking a look at the official announcement on Amazon's page does give us a few more details about all of this. So it says Amazon Games and NCSoft today announced an agreement to bring massively multiplayer online RPG Throne and Liberty to North America, South America, Europe, and Japan. Amazon Games will publish the title for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and X, and it will support cross-platform play. And I do believe this is the first time I have seen that cross-platform play is going to be...
Yeah, I think that's the first time me hearing it, but that's awesome. That's a big deal. I wonder if they're gonna have cross save though, but if they don't, the cross platform play, that's awesome. That means, if you're on PC, you can play with your friends on PlayStation or Xbox, which I have a cousin who only has a PlayStation, and my brother only has a PlayStation, so that's awesome. I love when games do that cross play. I mean, if it's shooter, MMO, I don't really think that many MMOs do that, actually, thinking about it, so that's even a bigger deal. Hey, I'm down for it, because that's amazing. I just love having, like, that just makes the community bigger. You don't have your little ecosystems. Like, you got your people on PlayStation, you got people on Xbox, and you have your people on PC, and they really have nothing to do with each other. But having us all together, that's awesome.
A thing, which I think is really cool because it just opens up the potential player base all playing on the same servers. Going on, it says here that Throne and Liberty is a MMORPG that combines story-driven adventure and action combat, further driving into the action portion of this. Although from early testing, it does seem like there is a strong tab target emphasis. I am just going to conclude from all of this, from all of the tab target discussion, everything we've seen that looked like tab target, and the action combat being brought up here and in other places, that yeah, it's going to be like that that hybrid system, that soft lock system. So think ESO, think Guild Wars 2. That's what I'm assuming here. They say in Throne and Liberty, players
I'm
enter a
down with
vast
that.
world with constantly shifting geographical and environmental features that change the course of play. This undoubtedly referring to the fact that the weather changes the actual environment, opening up and restricting access to certain areas. Really cool stuff. In fact, in one of the videos we've seen, we saw that during a rainstorm, it like activated this magical rune system, which opened.
Let's go back. That looks so awesome. You have all these people trying to defeat the looks like a world boss. That's I like that kind of stuff. I just love like the communities of MMO because you really can't find that anywhere else. I cannot talk today, but really the only place you can really find like big communities and like that and group stuff like this are in MMO. I love it. And it looks so nice. I figured since I'm gonna match. He said PS5 and Xbox One X, whatever it's called. So the graphics should be pretty decent.
We saw that during a rainstorm, it like activated this magical rune system, which opened the entrance to the stone dungeon. They're showing some really cool stuff here when it comes to how the environment plays into the gameplay experience that I just think it's pretty cool. It says massive scale PvP and PvE combat are fundamental to Throne and Liberty, and players can transform into animals soaring through the air.
See, that big group of PvP, like that's gonna be so fun. I love when games do that. Like I said, I haven't played that many MMOs, probably like a handful, but it was pretty cool in New World with their PvP and stuff, and it was just so cool. Like I remember like getting the bounties, the PvP bounties, and you have to like go out and do stuff to get your stuff up so you can attack somebody else's like thing. I remember one day it was just like 20 of us and like 20 of them like who were like waiting outside of like the town, just waiting. It was like a big old battle. It was so cool. I like that kind of stuff. Then even if it's like the pretty sure they have like where you can storm the bases and stuff, like New World and stuff. So that's gonna be pretty fun too.
Air or exploring the depths of the sea, even tipping the odds of battle in their favor by triggering powerful environmental effects like solar eclipses or rainstorms, which again plays into the fact that we've got the day-night cycle, we've got rain and stuff, the rain, the storms, a gust of winds, all of those things that yes, players will be able to influence themselves, be it through really rare gear or special abilities with long cooldowns, which I believe is specifically what we have heard. And then finally, wrapping it up, it says that Throne and Liberty continues Amazon Games momentum in games publishing, following the success of its internally developed MMO New World and action RPG Lost Ark from Smilegate, both of which have topped Steam and Twitch charts and continue to nurture strong player communities. I will wholeheartedly agree with them that yes, both of those games did in fact top charts, like some very impressive numbers, launch day numbers, concurrent player number peaks. Both of those games really did phenomenally when it comes to drawing initial interest. As to how they have maintained their player bases, the health of those games currently, it seems like both of them are pretty much in sharp decline, somewhere between 90 to 95% of reduction in peak player count from what they saw at launch. Although I think Lost Ark has maintained higher steady numbers, there's also the other side of that where a good chunk of those might be people multi-boxing or just all of the bots that are evidently rampant in that game. But regardless, I can't take it away. We can't take.
Yeah, those games did start off pretty hot, but the player count, I haven't actually checked up on the player count for either of those games in a few weeks. How is New World looking? I mean, not playing the last 37 minutes, 19,000, last 24, 25,000. You can see it had This was like at the peak. This was like at the beginning of New World. Almost 1 million players. But it's not bad. It's not good. I mean, I've seen a lot worse, so it's not so how is Lost Ark looking? How's that player count? New World isn't doing, it's doing okay. So Steam charts. I mean, it's doing a lot. It did a lot better than New World. I mean, I'm not surprised because Lost Ark already had a big fan base, and some people already played like the. I'm pretty sure this is a Korean game, which it already had a big fan base, so people already knew what the gameplay was. So I'm not surprised it had a bigger peak at the beginning, and it's not doing bad at all. I wouldn't. Last 39 minutes, 88,000. Last 24, 104,000. That's not bad at all. I wouldn't call that a loss, at least. I mean, if it's me, I wouldn't complain about that. So
take away from Amazon the fact that they have launched games that saw some pretty phenomenal early success. And then also, I want to point out whatever problems you may have with Lost Ark as a game, it seems like Amazon's handling of the publishing of this game that was developed by another company, how the publishing in the West was done, seems like they did a pretty good job. So with that said, I'm fairly confident that any of the problems that we may end up having with Throne and Liberty, I don't think Amazon will be the ones at fault there.
yeah. So I think Lost Ark is the only game they published that's owned by another company. But it's not like the monetization's not, it's not the greatest, but it's not, I think it's a little pay to win. But what I know from like the Korean version of it, it's a lot worse. I wouldn't say a lot worse, but it's worse. It seemed like Amazon tried to keep some of the pay to win stuff out, but you know, they can only do so much. So if that's anything, I mean, I know what some people think of the game. I mean, I didn't really play it like that. So I wasn't very like invested into Lost Ark like that. I thought it was very fun and enjoyable, but I didn't really get to like the end game, and I think it has PvP. I didn't really get into PvP and stuff. So no, I really didn't care about the pay to win stuff in it, but
as to how they've handled New World, I think it's a decent game that probably just needed a lot more content and some more interesting systems. And maybe they're getting there. I really haven't kept up with New World in the past few months. But regardless, let's get back into the Throne and Liberty discussion. So all of that official stuff, it's pretty cool. We know now, at the very least, to recap, we know they should be releasing the game at some point in the first half of 2023. They're running out of time here, but that's the current schedule, and that Amazon will be the ones publishing, which, as I just said, I don't think is a negative. There are a lot worse publishers of Eastern MMOs coming to the West that we know could have taken this over, and I think Amazon is probably the one who's done the best of it so far. What's more interesting is
Amazon, with the other publishers that bring Eastern games to the West, Amazon is probably our best option. Like, I know they're not perfect. I'm not saying they're perfect, not at all. But, with everybody else, they're probably the less evil at all of them. So, I would rather go with Amazon, than anybody else.
is some of the leaked information. In particular, that event that took place in February, that Korean local specific hands-on playtest. We got some leaked information out of that, basically recapping some of what people thought about their time with the game. Now, evidently this test was incredibly small. It was said that somewhere around 100 people were invited to try it out during these couple of days. And one of the general consensus when it comes to what the game is like is it was said that it feels like a combination of Lineage, World of Warcraft, The Witcher, and Lost Ark. I'm not exactly sure what to make of it. Obviously, the game has a Lineage heritage because that is the franchise that Throne Liberty, TNL, Project TL, that is where it comes from. World of Warcraft for maybe the modern day systems, Witcher for maybe the setting and visuals, and Lost Ark, maybe the monetization scheme. I don't know, Paul.
Yeah, I've only played like 2 of those games, so like Lineage, I never played that, but Lost Ark and The Witcher. But I don't know exactly where they're trying to get at with that. Hopefully not for the monetization, but it's probably going to be the same as Lost Ark, because these Korean games, they're kind of pay to win. Oh, I know they are pay to win. I know. I'm not gonna try to be like, oh no, they're good. They never pay to win. No, they're pay to win. I know a lot of them, and I played a lot of these phone ones.
Possible. Some highlights here from this leaked thread that came via a Twitter post. They said that while the game is cross-platform, it does have a very strong PC feeling to it, which is good to hear as far as I'm concerned. Visuals were said to be pretty strong. It looks good. The game looks good, and that pretty much pans out from what I've seen in the trailers. Maybe a little generic looking, but I do think the visuals and some of what they've shown looks pretty awesome. They said that NC has in fact put a big focus on the story. Personally, not that big of a deal to me. Not really what I come to the MMO genre for. But for people who are looking for a good story in their MMOs, it's
no. Every time I play MMO, I have no clue what's going on at all. I really don't play any games for the story unless it's like a single player game and it's all about story. That's the only time. If it's a looter shooter, MMO, talking about story, I'm like, what? I have no clue what you're talking about. I don't play these games for the story. I play them for the community, loot, and just killing stuff and doing raids, dungeons, and a little PvP every now and then. That's about it. Story, I have no clue what the hell you're talking about.
Seems like NC might deliver. And then they said that there looks to be a lot of solo potential for this game, which is absolutely like the lifeblood of the MMO genre. I know massively multiplayer online, it's in the name, right? But far as I know, a good chunk of the people who play MMOs like to play solo, at least some of the time, if not all of the time, barring content that requires groups. I know just personally, I spend a lot of my MMO time mostly doing stuff solo and then finding groups for the
yeah, that's a big deal. I don't think some people realize how many people play solo, even MMOs. Like, I know a few people who play MMO stuff solo. A lot of my games I play solo, mostly because like my friends and my cousins, they work. I'm like the struggling content creator in the family, so I have a lot of time on my hands, but they don't. And sometimes it's just fun playing by yourself. Like it's fun, but it is also fun playing with other people, friends, family, whoever. Is just fun. But I do appreciate these MMOs and stuff, these games, having content for single players, solo players, I should say, solo players. I mean, that's a lot of people. Like even like people who work a lot and stuff, they don't have much time, so they just like to hop on the game for like an hour, 2 hours, and they're done. They get their daily stuff done, and they're out. And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying don't cater to like group content because we can always find people to play with. Like when I have to do group stuff, I find people to play with, but I just much rather just play by myself. I mean, it's fun when you do like a raid or something, and you have to do that kind of stuff or whatever, and trying to find people, and you get to meet new people too sometimes. It's cool.
Things that require groups. So good to hear that Throne and Liberty is going to have solo potential. Now, one thing that came from this that is probably going to raise some eyebrows was this is a translation, keep in mind, and translations don't always translate. It's just the nature of different languages. But it was said that there is automatic hunting in the game. To me, this sounds like what it's supposed to say is auto combat. And to further support this notion, some of the leaked videos that have come out from testing over these past few months, there's been leaks. I'm not going to show it here because that'll get this video taken down. But yes, we have seen auto combat. If you don't know, auto playing is something that is common in many Eastern developed MMOs, and it's basically in the game you can hit a button and your character does all of the things for you. It engages in combat, it does its rotating spells, it uses things on cooldown.
Look. I don't mind it. It's an option. It's an option. You don't have to use it. But, I mean, that kind of says a lot about a few of the systems in the game. Like the combat. Like, is the combat going to be kind of, like, dumbed down from, like, your regular MMO? Like, is it going to be, like, 3 or 4 buttons? That's it? Like, I think a while back I heard it's going to be like on mobile, but it's not going to be like a mobile game. It's going to have like its own app. Like it's not going to be like made for mobile, like something like Diablo Immortal, like how that was made for mobile, and you can play it on PC and stuff, but the system's really that's made for mobile. It's not like that. It's kind of like if you live in the West, you got like something like GeForce Now. You can play your PC game. Excuse me. You can play your PC games on your phone. So technically, a lot of those games you can play on the go, which makes them mobile, but they weren't made for mobile. They weren't made like to be like built around mobile devices and stuff. So I don't know. I'm just hoping with this auto combat system, it just doesn't really impact the game too much. Like I said, I'm not really like bothered that it's there, because that's the option. You can press a button or whatever, or turn that on to play for you. It's an option. So it doesn't really bother me that it's there, but it's like, what other other mechanics does it affect?
They're games that play yourself, and it seems like it might be the case that Throne and Liberty is going to have auto combat. And some of the complaints that were coming out of this early testing was the fact that, hey, auto hunting is not fun, which I don't want a game that plays itself. I mean, there's the auto chess games were kind of cool. I like those, but that's not what I want out of my MMOs. And it also has me concerned that the basic combat will be dumbed down enough that auto hunting is even a viable option, which I don't think I was necessarily expecting crazy in-depth difficult combat where
see, that's my concern, but I don't know, we just have to see what the combat's like. I don't want Diablo or Mortal combat, but I wouldn't mind ESO. Like ESO isn't that bad. It's not that dumbed down. So I would accept something like that instead of something like Diablo Immortal. But just have to see.
You were just on the verge of death with every pull. That's not what I was expecting from Throne and Liberty. That's not what I expect from most MMOs, especially most Eastern developed MMOs. A lot of it is just like smashing through hordes of enemies. In most of the games in the genre nowadays, that's just kind of how it is. The presence of auto hunting and the fact that this game is going to be playable on phones, which, to clarify, it's not going to have a phone version of the game, but there will be a streaming service that lets you play the game on mobile devices. And even just the fact that that is a reality. Yes, the game is going to have a way to play it on the phones. It just won't be a phone app, if that distinction makes any sense or matters.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. You'll be able to stream it, just like GeForce Now. You're just streaming the game. You're not downloading the game to your phone. It's not a phone app on your phone. So, if that's any consideration.
At all. I'm pretty confident from these leaks, from the fact that there's going to be a phone version of the game, and from the leaks before these leaks, the actual gameplay we've seen, that there's going to be auto combat in this game, and maybe just the presence of that is enough to put people off. I absolutely don't love it. I don't want that's not the news I was hoping to hear. And then the last bit of info that came from this leaked thread was said that there was a system in the game called Magic Doll that boosts experience and drop rates. Now, there were no details as to what this Magic Doll system was, if it was like a buff that you could get in the game, if it was a consumable, in which case we might assume that that would be tied to the cash shop. There was no further extrapolation.
It's going to be attached to the cash shop, and I guarantee you it's going to be attached to the game shop. So tied to the cash shop, you can buy it, then it can boost drop rates and everything. So therefore you could probably get better gear. Therefore the question is this going to be paid to win? Probably with that, yes. And probably gonna have some other stuff too. Being Korean, auto combat, this is it's probably gonna be pay to win. Now Amazon is probably gonna try to keep some of that stuff out. Like I said, like in Lost Ark, some of the systems aren't in the Western version of it. So Amazon's probably gonna try to keep it somewhat tame. But like with Lost Ark, that's pretty pay to win. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's pay to win. So this game's probably gonna be pay to win. Is that gonna impact my enjoyment of it? No. If it has good gameplay, combat's good, the social systems are good in it, the dungeons, the world, I'm still gonna enjoy it no matter what. But in game, it's not gonna be fun trying to, definitely in PvP, trying to fight these people who paid $100 to $2,000 on this game, and they have like way better gear than me. That's not going to be fun at all. So if I really like the game and keep up with it and keep playing it, I probably won't even go into PvP that much. Like, if the PvE is fun enough, I'm just gonna stick with that. So yeah.
As to this, just it was said Magic Doll is a thing and it boosts experience and drop rates. So we'll see what that means. A bit concerning, some of the stuff here. In particular, there was also some discussion about how it seems like the game is going to be heavily monetized, which I guess shouldn't come as too much of a surprise. Now, there was another leak that just happened like yesterday as of this recording. Basically, this was a screen grab of what looked to be the alpha for Throne and Liberty here in the Western version. This was specifically on an Amazon website. The quote here is, "After an exciting announcement in February, the Amazon Games team invites Amazonians," I believe that's just people who work for Amazon, "to alpha test Throne and Liberty between April 4th and April 9th. So this was a leaked, it wasn't even a real screenshot. It was a photo of a screen. How verifiable?
There's definitely going to be leaks. Like, I think in the last few years, there's only a couple games that I've seen that had no leaks or anything and just like came out. I was like, oh, okay. But nowadays, it's so hard from stuff, from keeping, like, from leaking and stuff. It's just hard these days, People want to see the game and see what the game's about before it even comes out. They want to know everything about it. And, sometimes the people who get their hands on these games, like, get to play like the early alpha, or like they're just playing it in house. I guess they kind of want to help us out. I'm like, hey, here's the little nugget for you. Oh, leak. So if leaks start coming out, I won't be surprised. Not one bit. Not at all. It's like, oh, there's another one.
Is this? I'm not sure. There are sources that I've heard that this is in fact something that's happening right now, because right now, as I'm recording this, it is April 4th. So apparently there might be an Amazon Games alpha test of Throne and Liberty taking place at the moment. And if that is in fact the case, if that's happening, I would expect at some point within the next couple of weeks, some leaks to come out of this as well, because that's just how it is. Even with these heavy NDAs, we always end up seeing leaks. So to wrap things up here, I want to say that yes, I am.
What did it say? The 4th through the 7th, or the 3rd through the 7th? So today's April 6th. So I give it to next week. Next week or the week after, we start getting leaks.
I'm looking forward to this game. As I mentioned on the top, I think it's cool to have a new MMO, but as much as I am excited for it, I have to keep reminding myself that this is a game developed by NCSoft, and for that reason, we should 100% without question expect a big old cash shop full of some variations of pay to win, time savers, boost, currency exchanging, outfits with huge quality of life buffs, you name it, it'll probably be in there. Ultimately though, the way I feel about this is I will be happy if we get a good month or two of fun from the game. I'm really not expecting too much more. That tells you where my expectations are.
Yeah, but I hope at the least, a good month or two. But I hope it's really fun. It looks good. So I just hope a lot of these MMOs are really good, because whatever the best one, I just want to play that for the longest, and just make it one of my main games. Like, not even making content on it. Like, I'm just playing it just to play it because I enjoy it. But we'll see.
Or at least when it comes for a lot of Eastern developed MMOs in particular. It's just this very narrow genre of games that it just always seems to be heavy pay to win. And so much of that has spilled over into everything that's Western developed as well. This isn't specific to like Eastern developed MMOs, with but a few rare exceptions. Most modern day new MMOs have all of that stuff as well. But regardless, here's the deal. If this comes out and I can sit down and experience a new world and play with all those people, enjoy that hype around launch and going out and discovering new things and taking on these challenges, and play up until the point that I'm fed up with all of the game's garbage and the whatever that entails, I'm fine with that. That's about all I expect. And there's so many games out there, way too many games than we can even reasonably play. It's fine, whatever. I'll take what I can get from this thing. As an MMO fan, I am anemic when it comes to just give me more, right? Give me something else. Give me something new. I need something fresh. Come on, please help brother out here. As for the release, like I said, Throne and Liberty is still, as of now, planned and said to be launching in the first half of 2023. Now, during a recent shareholder meeting meeting, they were asked about this, and their response was that they're coordinating the release date with Amazon. So it sounds like the ball is just in their court. My guess is Amazon is currently focused on the localization as well as a release timing, trying to find a window where there isn't too much competition. You know, June is going to be a pretty big month.
Yeah, I bet Amazon is really focusing like on the localization of it and stuff, because they wanted to go smooth. I mean, they don't want to flop. I mean, so far they've been doing pretty good. They're, you know, 2-0 so far with New World and Lost Ark start off great. So they're gonna want this one to start off great too.
Month, especially, you know, Diablo 4 is launching. You might not think they're competitors, but they are absolutely competitors. There is certainly a huge crossover in the Venn diagram of Diablo 4 players and MMO fans. And then there's also the Diablo players who hate MMOs, but don't worry about them. They're probably not watching this channel, right? But yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens. I don't know if they're actually going to hit that first half or not, especially since nothing's been announced and you got like a couple months left. So maybe closer to fall, sometime around August, September, something like that. We'll see. But yeah, either way, despite all the drawbacks, despite the fact that it's probably going to be super pay to win and have a huge cash shop, despite the fact that it's got likely, almost certainly, an autoplay feature to the game, it's a new MMO. I'm going to want to check it out. I'll keep you up to date as we get any big new information. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the vid, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.
Well,
Throne and Liberty is...
So, let's talk about it. Hold on. All right, I'm back. I actually got an earbud stuck in my ear. You're like, well, why'd you put it back in? Because I don't want to wear my headset. I like earbuds because of my beanie. Anyways, so Throne Liberty looks pretty good. The graphics look good. Combat looks good. Looks okay. I'm just hoping the combat isn't too dumbed down. That's my only problem with the combat. Maybe pay to win. I think it's gonna be pay to win. Now Amazon, like I said, might keep some of the monetization out of the game, what they have in the East. So we might get a little lucky with that, but it's probably still gonna be a lot in there. And yeah, it looks crossplay between all the platforms. That's a good thing. It looks amazing. It has a lot of positives, but a lot of negatives too. But I would say if it plays good and the combat isn't too dumbed down, I'm gonna say it's got a lot more positives than negatives. But it is some coming out around the same time as Diablo, which over here in the West, it's going to be pretty big. I feel like Diablo is going to be a pretty big game. So competing with that, it's going to be kind of hard. We just have to see like what happens and stuff, but hopefully it's not too bad of a game, cuz I'm looking forward for all these games, especially the MMOs like Diablo, Blue Protocol. What else is coming out? Throne and Liberty. Can't wait for that. Just hope a lot of these games are good, but just have to see. Really have to see who has the worst monetization and who is more pay to win. That's really what's going to come down to. Who is more pay to win? You know? So, with that said, I'm out. I'll see you in the next video. And, yeah. Everybody have a good day. Bye.